Hi guys, I don't know what's happening behind me. I'm recording this before I come up with whatever gameplay I'm going to put behind me, so I have no idea what's going on. Hopefully it's something entertaining. So I know I haven't posted a video in 2 weeks. I know I've streamed on and off for the past 2 weeks, but I haven't posted a video in about 2 weeks. So this is going to be a new series called Catching Up with Ken, or whatever I'm going to call it. So let me tell you guys what's been going on and what changes have just happened in my personal life that are going to mean changes to the channel for the better. Okay. So in April, I believe, I started working 2 jobs at the same time. One of them was Lowe's, which if you don't live in the US or you aren't somewhere where there is a Lowe's is basically half factory, half retail store. Basically, they specialize in toilets, appliances, bathtubs, just contractor work for people who build things, for people who put things in houses. I was specifically in the plumbing section, so I was basically the plumbing retail associate. They would ask me to, just walk the aisles, make sure stock was in order, restock things, and also assist customers if they needed things. And if there was a big toilet or bathtub or something somewhere, I was asked to get in a machine and retrieve it and hand it off to the customer. I know that sounds kind of weird, handing off something to a customer, but we had things we could roll to roll it around the store. So that was my main job since past November. Come April, there's a situation going on in my personal life where I'm like, crap, I need 2 jobs to, get income faster. So I started working also part-time at this retail video game store, which I'm sure a lot of you probably know what this store is. I don't plan on saying anything weird or negative about the companies, but still, I don't want to physically say what store it is, but y'all can guess what store it is. So I start working at this video game store part-time while working at Lowe's part-time. At first, it was fine, y'all. So I was still uploading regularly. I wasn't really streaming because I didn't really have time, because there were periods of times where I would go 2 weeks without an off day, but I was still trying my best to upload, content. But given the situation, a lot of the times I would have to walk to both jobs. Now, walking to the gaming store was no issue. That was like a 5-minute walk because it's up the street. But walking to Lowe's was an hour to get there and an hour back. And some of y'all probably like, why didn't you use Uber? I would run out of Uber money because I would have to budget myself. I'm like, okay, this is how much money I need to be able to Uber. And I would just run out of the Uber money. So, I didn't want to spend all my savings if I do have the opportunity to walk. So I would walk an hour to and an hour back. So that started becoming taxing because my issue with Lowe's was they would schedule me as early as 5:30 a.m. and as late as 11 p.m., which I just thought was utterly ridiculous. I like to have a consistent schedule. So if you're going to have me coming in at 5:30, 6 a.m., keep it consistent. I don't want to come in at 3 p.m., leave at 11, and then the next day I have work at 5:30 a.m. Like, are you serious? So if it takes me an hour to walk back home, I'll be home at 12. I have to take a shower, do all my nightly stuff. Probably won't get to bed till 12:31. That means I only have like 3.5 hours of sleep because I have to leave the house by 4:30 a.m. to get there at 5:30. It's like, are you serious? But funnily enough, that wasn't enough for me to change my availability at Lowe's. It wasn't until they started needing me more at the gaming retail store that I had to change my availability at Lowe's, because there were some times they would schedule me like 5 days a week. And then there were times they would schedule me only like 2 days a week. So I'm just like, okay, y'all, I can't keep messing up my sleep cycle and all this other stuff because y'all don't know how to schedule people. So I filled out a form to request that my availability be changed. Like, I can't work XYZ days. They don't honor that. And it's getting to a point where I'm just having to send them emails like, hey, I can't show up this day. I told you I can't show up this day. and y'all didn't do anything about it. So I physically can't be here this day. So I'm not going to be there. I'm just letting you know. And they had the nerve to tell me, oh, well, you need to fill out another form. It's like, why do I need to fill out another one? I filled one out and I put it on your desk. I'm assuming you just threw that away and thought I was going to be like, okay, whatever. But that's not what happened. They ended up feeling bad and trying to work with me. But honestly, by then it was too late, because at that point, this store has a huge turnaround rate. So at that point, I think they started losing some people. So they started moving people around. So they started to move me a little more in the hardware section. That was probably their biggest mistake, because the person over the hardware section in that particular store, I did not like him. And apparently he did not like a lot of people. Like, he was one of those older men that just assumed that people didn't like to work anymore, all this other foolishness. So if you've ever worked retail, so the hardware section is closer to like normal retail in that store. If you've ever worked retail, you know you have to do things like front the shelves, which is basically making the shelves look all full and neat, bringing everything to the front. You know, front the shelves, fill in any empty spaces, that kind of stuff. I've worked a good few jobs where that was required of me, and never in my life have I had someone be so anal about it. I'm just like, and here's the thing, it would be one thing if the whole store was anal about it. He was telling me to do stuff that the store manager was coming up behind him and saying, don't do that. That's stupid. like, can you believe that? Like, the head of the department is like, do this. The store manager literally comes up behind like, do not do that. That is stupid. Like, why would he make you do that? Because, you know, the shelves will be full and we just have like one product that couldn't fit on the thing. So he's like, okay, we're going to put that up in top stock. It's going to get lost. Why would you put one product up in top stock? And he just analing up my butt, trying to make me just take a microscope to make sure each line, each aisle is perfectly scoped out, all while trying to make sure I can teleport to one of the other 5 aisles to assist customer. It was ridiculous. And if I remember correctly, I did hear people complaining about him. We apparently had a worker who was an older man. He's like in his 70s. And he this actually happened. He fell on a ladder at work and broke his ribs. Now, the man is already old, 70 something. Apparently, this manager told him to get on a ladder and pull something down. And he said, I physically cannot do that. My ribs are healing. I got bandages on. I shouldn't even get on that ladder. And he apparently told the man, either get on that ladder or I'm writing you up. It's like, are you serious right now? Get on the ladder, or you can't just hand out write-ups like that. So apparently a lot of people at the store are very upset about that whole situation. Anyway, that on top of them not really respecting my hours caused me to just leave. I was like, it's too much. My feet were burning. I had to buy new shoes because I had worn my shoes into the dirt. There was no saving those shoes. Because a lot of times I would be walking in the rain, and if you've ever like walked in the rain consistently, your shoes get ruined and they have this disgusting mildew smell. So they had to be thrown out. Like, they just had to be thrown out. So quitting that job very much opened up what I can do for this channel again. And as of right now, I'm in a really good position. So I actually have more time to work on the channel than I did before. Now, here's the thing. While I was kind of out of commission, I was honestly probably either going to only stream once a month or just stream once in a blue moon, because I didn't have time. So I was like, well, I still want to deliver, you know, the non-Bara content for the people who don't necessarily watch me for the Bara stuff. And that's what the live streams were mainly for. So I was going to end up just putting all that on my second channel. But now that I can stream again, there's no need to worry about that. The Nancy Drew games and all that stuff will come back in live streams. What I do think I need to focus on now is for one thing, the NSFW content for the Patreon, I know I have been severely slacking on that. What I initially wanted to do, I wanted to like make an edited version of whatever playthrough and then have the unedited version be on Patreon. So, I could like kind of basically have a teaser preview kind of thing on YouTube, but have like the full thing over on Patreon. All I gotta say is some of these games, that is not possible because I don't know how far I can get in Chronicles of Lancelot 2 without you looking up in the sky and see flying dragon penises all over the place. It just gets to a point like, am I supposed to blur out the whole screen? And some of these games are story based, so like cutting out huge segments of gameplay would just not make any sense. So it's like, what's the point? Which is why I might go more the route of posting like a little overview or review of the game on YouTube while also advertising that I've played it and posted it on my Patreon, because that was getting kind of taxing, like having two versions of each video, like have like a full unedited version on Patreon and then like a heavily edited version on YouTube. That was getting a bit taxing. So it's going to definitely depend on the game. I think what's going to happen is I'll record footage for the game, like completely unedited. And if I feel like it's way too much to edit, I'll post like a review or overview or first impressions video on it. And then, the full gameplay will be on Patreon. I feel like that's fair. I feel like that saves a lot of time. Like, for example, I just played a game. Let me see. I just played a game called The Transforming Detective. I feel like chopping that up and slicing that up would not make much sense because it's so sexually driven. The game is highly sexually driven. So I feel like a normal little review of the gameplay and just the game overall would be fine. And then I would later on post my uncensored video of the demo over on Patreon. I think that works. That'll get people more engaged back into the Patreon, bada bing, bada boom, kill two birds with one stone. But with that, I do want to still have videos that don't have to be edited nearly as much, right? So I am going to continue with like the Final Fantasy RPG playthroughs and modded playthroughs and games that are a little safer for work, along with games like Hunky City, which don't require that much editing, or another Eidos, which doesn't require that much editing, or even like Hosumo, Tokyo School Avengers. So yeah, that's what's been going on. I am recording a video today, so expect a new video to be up tomorrow, or at least very soon. I'm actually going to be trying to record a lot of videos today. I might be streaming later on today too, so keep a lookout for that. But that's all for now. Until next time, guys. See ya.